Bakoebisanga balobi olingiza lina sukate unatika na limbiyo kadi ya banza wa mama. Limbiyo kadi ya banza wa mama. Hello my friends and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining. Today we are diving into a very fascinating culture talk. Why is the color white always associated with death in many sub-Saharan African culture? White, the symbol of life and purity in the Western world, turned into something that symbolizes the end of life and spirit world in Africa. So kindly join as we explore the historical, culture, and symbolic reasons behind this intriguing perspective. With that out of the way, let's get in. Now, after death and the human body has decayed, the body normally leaves behind the bones. And these bones now come to represent the body that was there initially. The bones come to represent the human body that once lived. Let's look at a scenario whereby a family member disappeared several years later. This person is discovered dead in the forest, and what is actually found are bones. The flesh is no longer there. These bones are normally viewed as the body of this person. Therefore, it is these bones that are normally collected for the closure. Remember, the bones are white in color. Because of this color, white color became associated with death. Because of white, the color of the bones, it became associated with death in many sub-Saharan African culture. Because white, the color of bones, and bones normally comes up as a result of death. Now, because of this, several organic things, especially those from undergrounds, were also associated with death. Those organic things from underground in white color were also associated with death in many sub-Saharan Africa. Now let's move on and look at some of the African communities and how they associated these organic things in white color with death. Starting with the Luhya people of Western Kenya, where you are truly hailed from. So among the Luhya people, we are going to look at the mushrooms and the termites. We start with the termites, those white edible insects. Among the Luhya people, sometimes termites are known as the flying protein. The flying protein. So termites among the Luhya people is one of the most loved delicacy. Termites among the Luhya people is a very special delicacy. Not only that, termites also enriched the Luhya language by actually providing a very seductive phrase. Nda hujamange iswa na kupenda kama kumbe kumbe, which translates to I love you like termites. A phrase when applied to a lady by a young man, she will definitely melt down like butter on the frying pan. So as much as termite is highly held among the Luhya people, termites are always associated with death, especially when it appears to someone in dream. Any termite-related dream is viewed as a prediction of an impending death. And because of this, whoever dreams about the termites, something has to be done on them so as to avoid this deadly threat. Let's move to the mushrooms. These huge white mushrooms, the Luhya people normally call them oboba bukotwe. Oboba is mushrooms. Then bukotwe is this specific type of mushroom. So among the Luhya people, they view these mushrooms as from something that is from the land of the dead, because of the white color. And because of this, these mushrooms became associated with the death, and nobody normally claims the ownership of them. Even if they come out from your farm, you don't own them. Anybody who discovers them as they sprout becomes the ultimate owner. So what this person has to do is just to make a ring. It's called ingara among the Luo people, ingara. It can be either from banana fibers or from grass. Just make it quickly and then place it there. Go on with your business. You will come to harvest them when they are now mature enough. You know, they normally matures around 4 noon, around 4 noon, somewhere around 4 noon. And they normally start sprouting during midnight to dawn. So you will wait until they are now mature enough and come to harvest. Even if the landowner comes and found them there and sees, found the ring there, the landowner can't harvest. Anybody else who comes later on can't harvest because there is already a ring there. And in case you defy this and go on and harvest, there is also consequences for that. And let's save that one to be a discussion for another day. So the reason as to why people don't own them is because they were associated with death because of their white color. So mushrooms and termites, nobody normally claims ownership of them. What normally happens, whoever harvests can only share a portion of it with the landowner, because claiming the ownership was viewed like owning death, and death is something that nobody would wish to associate with in any way. Now let's move to Central Africa and see how communities there, the Luba, the Bangala, the Mongols, Bakongo, and so on. These communities of Central Africa also viewed ivory to be associated with death. Remember, ivories are white in color, and actually ivories were obtained after a massive killing of the elephants. And because of this, ivory among these communities of Central Africa associated ivory with death. When the Europeans came, finally, ladies and gentlemen, when the Europeans came, there was always doubt about whether they were really human beings. You know how they dressed made it difficult for some of their body parts to be visible. And because of this, actually, Africans doubted whether these guys have all body parts that they had. They wore shoes on their feet, and actually shoes prevented Africans from seeing their toes. So Africans doubted whether these guys had toes just like them, and other body parts that were not visible. Remember, these guys are white in color, and because of this white color, African actually confirmed that indeed these are white ghosts, and they must have come from the land of the dead. And now Africans actually believed that these guys had power over life and death. Because of this, Africans actually feared these guys so much. The fear that actually went on until around during the Second World War, when both Africans and Europeans actually participated in this war, and the Africans actually discovered that whatever was happening to them was also happening to these Europeans. That is when this fear actually started subsidizing. So white, the color of bones, the color of ivory, the color of mushrooms, the color of termites became associated with death in many Sub-Saharan African culture. That is it for this particular video. Thank you so much for your awesome support. And for more thought-provoking content,